Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Listen. Now, when you look at this thumbnail, it doesn't necessarily strike you as the word listen. That's because the constructors are full deck and missing a few cards, and I just can't help it. Whenever I see a puzzle that includes these infamous constructors, I always end up thinking of poker games. Now, in this particular thumbnail, the idea is Sleuth is very carefully listening to the other players, and that somehow that would tip him off as to whether they're bluffing or not. Clearly, not gambling advice here. As I've said before, I am not a poker player. I think I would definitely play it for fun, but probably not for money. I'm not good enough for that. But anyway, let's take a look at today's puzzle and rule set. So, we have Listen by full deck and missing a few cards, and a relatively straightforward set of rules. We've got standard Sudoku rules apply, so that's the digits 1 to 9 in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. That is in a 3x3 box. That is a 3x3 box. Then we have cages, of course. Digits in cages cannot repeat and must sum to the value shown in the upper left corner of the cage. So, for example, these three cells that are in one cage, as indicated by the dashed line, must sum up to 9. These three cells must sum up to 15, and so on and so forth. Lastly, we have German whispers. Adjacent digits along a green German whisper line must differ by at least a 5. So, for example, if this was a 2, this would be 7, 8, or 9 to be 5 or more away. And the pattern repeats. So imagine that this is an 8, this would have to be 1, 2, or 3 to be 5 or more away, although in a cage, clearly that's not going to be a 2. So you end up with this pattern of high, low, repeating as long as there is German whisper line to repeat on. And notice that when I say low, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, high, it's 6, 7, 8, 9, never a 5 on a German whisper line. Up to you to determine why. Now, I'm not too sure if the grid layout is meant to represent the word listen. It's almost, you've got almost like a geometric pattern all pulling you towards the center here. But I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure I get the name. Well, anyway, getting the name or not doesn't necessarily mean that we need to do so to be able to actually solve this puzzle. So if you want to listen in, play this particular puzzle, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock, see how I get on. Now, the cage that caught my eye immediately is the 6th cage. We know that this is from 1, 2, 3. And then we have this pattern of 15 cages, like in a lot of places. It's you know, I mean, I'm almost tempted to color it, but I'm not. But there's a lot of them. So I think we clearly have to think about these 15 cages. I am going to color them, actually. Let's just color them. Yeah, I'm not getting the pattern, but we'll think about it for a second. So the interesting thing about these 15 cages is that they are German whisper lines as well inside them. So essentially, they're either made up of 2 high digits with a low or 2 low digits with a high. And now we need to try and come up with a setup that makes them add up to 15. So let's have a think about this for a second. You see, I can already see that if the center digit is low, there has to be a 1, because the next possible digit is a 2, which would then have at least a 7, 8, and 9. And even if I go with the minimum here, 7 and 8 is already 15, plus a 2, that's 17. That's too big. So essentially, I need to have a 1. And then, again, 7 and 8 is too big. You need to have a 6. 6 and 1 is 7. Then we need an 8. So that's forced. If one of them is low in the center and 2 highs, it has to be 1, 6, 8. I'm actually almost wondering now, is that then the reverse is true? If I don't use a 9, what happens? Yeah, if I don't use a 9, then I can't have a 4 in the low digits. The next 2 possible digits are 2 and 3. They're only 5. Can't have a 10 in a single cell. So one of these has to be a 4, which means one of these has to be a 9. And then 4 and 9 are 13, so we need to have a 2. So essentially we've got two patterns here, the 168 and... Sorry, we've got two patterns, the 168 and the 249, correct? That's what I said, yeah. And we know what this cage is. And the reason we know what this cage is we already placed all the low digits in box. Not all the low digits, pardon me. We placed 3 of the low digits. The fourth one, the 4, is along this one, which means this is 49. Which means that this is a 249 setup, and we know that it's this example, which is 9, 4, 2, and 9. And we know that this is the other one, this is 168, so we know that this is 1, 6, and 8. And that's probably going to actually unravel all the 15 cages, because whichever one is in the same box, that means that this is a 1 with a 6, 8. This is not a 1, this is a 9 with a 2, 4. Yeah, this is going to go all the way. Yep, 9. That means that this has to be a 1 with a 6, 8. And then 9 again with 2, 4. Can I keep this going? Yep, this is... Yeah, these are the two last 15s. That's 1 looking at it. That's a 9. That's got to be a 1 because it's got a 9 and 9 looking at it. These are 2, 4s. These are 6, 8s. And we're off to an excellent start. Bit of Sudoku quickly to just tidy up. This 1, for example, means there are no 1s in here. That's a 1. 1, 2, 3. Looking at this cell, that's a 4. That's a 2. Not too sure where to go next. I mean, I can see that I can just... I mean, it's probably what I need to do anyway, but... essentially, these German whisper lines are sort of calling out to me. The fact that it's a minimum of 2, 4 tells me that these can't have a 6. They're 7, 8, 9. I should probably even do some Sudoku, actually. Sorry, give me a moment. I'm just trying to take it all in. This is another 7, 8, 9. Again, because it's a 2, that's a minimum of 7, 8, 9. These are a little bit trickier. Kind of, a little bit trickier, but not quite. So we have the 9s in the cages, so this is limited to 6, 7, 8. Not entirely true. The 6 would go with a 5, the 7 would go with a 4, which is not available. So no 7 here, and the 8 would have to go with a 3. So this is 3, 5, this is 6, 8. We got probably something similar going on here. If it's a 6 or 7, that would be 6 or 7. If it's an 8, that's a 5. There's nothing similar going on here then. The 2 and 4 don't really impact the 13 cage. So this 9 cage is somewhat forced. Yes, it is actually entirely forced. So the fact that there is a 2 in the box means this is not 2, 3, 4. It needs to have a 1. If you don't have a 1 or a 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the minimum. That's 12. That's way too big. So the absence of a 2 means there is a 1. That 1 here tells me the 1 is in this cell. Then I need 2 cells that add up to 8. And 1, 7 and 2, 6 are not available. This is 3, 5. 3, 5, not 3, 4, 5. How do I do... I mean, this is just solved by Sudoku, so no 1s in any of these cells, whereas 1 in box, 6, that's the only place for a 1, which means we have sort of the same setup kind of as here, except we don't yet know if 2 is allowed or not. So this can actually be 2, 7. I don't know if I want to pencil mark this. Just once again, another really clever puzzle from FullDeck and missing a few cards. And I think it's about finding the elegant solution path more than just forcing it quickly. I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, we can do the same thing here with the 1s. This is, again, forced with this 1. This one is forced, 1 and 2. Can't be in here, so this is another 3, 5. I admit I'm not quite getting the significance of the 3, 5s just yet. Maybe we will. What I'm kind of surprised by is I'm not really able to disambiguate some of these. Is this best done with coloring? Is kind of what I'm wondering. The one thing that we know about these is that they are different. All the 6/8s and the 2/4s in the cages, they are different. Don't know about this 6/8, but is that what we're meant to be doing next? The one in here, yeah, we don't know. That's 2/6 or 3/5. We can do, of course, Sudoku, Sleuth, whenever you get stuck. Think about Sudoku, where does 1 go in box 5? It can only be in here. 2 maybe? 2 is up here, not very helpful. 2, yeah, not too sure. Sorry, some of you may be already shouting at your screen saying, Sleuth, it's so obvious. Take a look at there. I'm just not seeing it. So I am half tempted to color. I mean, I can probably do a bit of Sudoku with 9s, maybe. Such as, this is not a 9. Sleuth, Sleuth, Sleuth. Therefore, this is a 2. Therefore, this is a 4. Doesn't remove the possibility of a 9 in here, but with that 9, that was gone ages ago. 9s, now where does 9 go in box 6? It's forced in here. Where does it go in box 5? It's one of 3 cells. One of 2 cells. One of 2 cells. I don't know if I really want to pencil mark these. Sorry, corner pencil mark. What about the 4s and 2s? Yeah, where does 4 go in box 2? That's the 4. Yeah, 4, 2, 4. Not 2, 2. I think we're almost done with all the 4s actually. 4s, 4. 4 can't be in here because we need 2 cells that add up to 8. And it's either 2, 6 or 3, 5. It's not 2, 6 anymore. That's a 3, 5. But anyway, it gives me another 4 as well. So we're nearly done with 4s, aren't we? We are done with 4s. I can't do Sudoku. There you go. That's what I meant to do. Can I do something similar with the 6 and 8s? Is there somewhere similar where there's a 6 or 8 looking at one of these 6 or 8s and therefore entirely resolves it? I don't think I have a 6 anywhere. Let me just double check. Yeah, that's the only one. And I don't think I have an 8 anywhere. Yeah, that's the only one. So unless one of these 11 cages actually suddenly appears to be a 6 or 8, we're kind of stuck to having to color. The 9 won't really help because it has no bearings on these 6/8s. We do have, no, I was going to say we have a 6/8 pair. We don't have a 6/8 pair. Why did I think we have a 6/8 pair? If we do have 6/8 pairs, they're really not obvious. 6 and 8 tells me that's not 8, but you know, that's not massive amount of deductions there. Right, I am going to color the 6/8s. Right, so let's crack on with that. Am I picking the right ones? Sort of, yeah. We can. So if that's purple, that's orange. That's got to be purple. That's orange. That's purple. We need a purple 6/8, which doesn't stop me from having one in here. Purple 6/8, excuse me. Where does purple 6-8 go in column 9? Well, it's not this cell. That's the only place for it. That's the purple 6-8. That's another purple 6-8. Therefore, this is an orange 6-8. Remember, the 1 cages, they have to have 1 of each. So this is therefore a purple 6-8. Where does orange go? It's one of these 2 cells, including this one. So not exactly helpful just yet. Let's see if we can keep it going. We need another 6-8. This is looking very likely to be purple, but I feel like I just haven't done enough. But I mean, again, I can remove another 8 from here. This is 7-9. In fact, that's another 7-9 just to complete the box. This is not a 7. This is another 6-8. So it has to be the orange 6-8. The other orange 6-8 to complete it in column 7 has to be now in here. That is a 7. That is not a 7, and therefore not a 6. So we actually know that orange, I'm going to keep coloring because, you know, I'm enjoying it, but we actually know orange now is the 8 and purple is the 6 based on that 13 cage. Yes. And of course we had 6 and 8 looking at that. That was never a 6. So that was, I could have deduced that a little bit earlier. Anyway. Purple 6-8 in this row, well, it's not this cell, and there's nowhere else for it. So that's the purple 6-8. Therefore, this is orange. Therefore, this is purple, because they have to be different in the 15 cages. I think purples are done. I've got 9 of them, haven't I? No, I need 1 more in here. This is it. And then, let's see, I've nearly got... That's purple, that's orange. Well, orange means this is orange, and orange, this is orange. And we said orange is 8, and we said purple is 6. And we can probably solve it from here. This is 3, 5, not resolved. Actually, hang on, 5. Do the cages, Sleuth. Do the other cage, Sleuth, whilst you're at it. So this is a 3, this is a 5. This is 3 and 7. That is a 2-3 pair. That is a 3. That is a 7. We know surely what this is now. That's a 5. That's a 7. That 5 gives me 3, gives me 5. The 3 doesn't bounce back necessarily. In here I need 2 and... not 4. 2 and 9. That's the 2. That's the 9. I need 3, 5 and 7. The 7 and 5 are not here. That's 3, that's 2, that's 3. This is 5, 7. Actually, that 3 gives me 5, which gives me 7, which gives me 9, which gives me 7, which gives me 5, wasn't it? Which gives me 3 and 5 up here. This is now a 9 because of the 7 at the top. This is now a 3. This is a 2, a 7. In here I needed 3 and 9. No, 3 and 7. That's the 7, that's the 3. In here I need 2 and 5. That's the 5, that's the 2. Just Sudoku because of the 5 in the 13 cage. That's a 3, that's a 7. Oh, nearly done. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's a 7 for the finish. Lovely, lovely puzzle. As always, full deck and missing a few cards. Kind of wondering if there was an easier way of doing this. Probably with just Sudoku. Say just Sudoku. The coloring is Sudoku after all. So it's not like I wasn't using Sudoku to just wrap it up. But I'm just wondering if the coloring was necessary or if it's just quicker to do so. Well, I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments down below. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the puzzle and the video. Pretty smooth solve. I mean, you'll let me know, I'm sure. Only thing left to say is, I mean, check out Full Deck and Missing a Few Cards. We've got quite a few different puzzles from them featured on the channel. But this particular puzzle is sort of tricky to find something similar to it. It's sort of like the killer German whisper fusion that created this. So, I mean, I'll recommend playlists that include both, and happy hunting in that playlist. Nothing left to say other than hope to see you soon. Bye-bye for now.